Hello everybody, today I'm going to give you a short summary of the article Fairy Tales and Pie. I chose this article for my screencast. First off, we're going to start with our main characters, namely the Brothers Grimm. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about their fairy tales, their Deutsche Wörterbuch and Grimm's Love Calls. But before we dive into that, I want to give you a little bit more information about the brothers themselves. We're going to start with Jacob Ludwig Karl Grimm. He was a very introvert man and he was physically stronger than his brother. He was also more academic and he did much of the research for the folklore and the bulk of the work on the theories of language and grammar. Moving on, we have Willem Karl Grimm. He had asthma and a weak heart, which makes him less physically strong than his brother. He was also a bit warmer, so he was a really extroverted man, and he was more interested in literature. He edited and constantly revised the stories to give them their classic narrative style. First off, we have their fairy tales. Fairy tales like Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella and Snow White we all know and love, but initially they were not meant for children or non-scholar. They were full of cruelty, hunger and loss, and they have a long introduction, a roll of notes and no illustrations. They published their first collection of 86 German fairy stories named Kinder- und Hausmärchen, or as we call it, the Tales of Children and the Home, in 1812. Moving on, we have their Deutsche Wörterbuch, also known as their Grimm. It is to the German language what the Oxford English Dictionary is to English. They thought the task would take them 10 years, but in fact Willem had died by the time the first volume, Aid to Bildermolke, was published. And when Jacob died in 1864, he was only at Frucht. So the whole completion of the Deutsche Wörterbuch took from 1838 to 1961. It weighs 84 kilos and has 350,000 entries. They made a revision and the last chapters were A to F and they were due in 2012. Moving on, we have Grimm's Law. It was largely Jacob Grimm's work because he traced the vowel shifts in various European and Aryan language and found they were all linked to a common root. It shows how consonants of different languages in the European relate. In the grid, we see the shift from P to F. It is very visible in the Latin word pater, because it becomes father in English. We have also para, pet and pus in Sanskrit. Latin and Greek become foot, voet, voetuur and vod in English, Dutch, German, Icelandic and Danish. Other examples show the relationship of K to H in non-Germanic and Germanic languages, like Kion in Greek means hound in Welsh, and there is a link for G to K as well, as with Gelandros, which means cold in Greek, and it becomes cold, kalt und kahl in English, German and Swedish. It was written in Jacob Grimm's book der Deutsche Grammatik. Grimm's Law was one of the stepping stones for Pi, which means Proto-Indo-European. It traced the tribes in the steppe of southern Russia, but it isn't the oldest language. There are no written records, so looking for clues in the oldest written records, they made it backwards. We don't know how it was spoken, and the oldest written clue was the king and the god, which we see in below. we are going to end with some fun facts. Willem Grimm married Dortgen, the girl who told him the story of Red Riding Hood, and in the original story of the Frog Prince got smacked into a wall and died instead of being kissed and living happily ever after. Thank you for listening and have a great day.